Many people think that women have abundantly fewer commandments, mitzvot, than men in Judaism. So there's 613 commandments, and just consider for yourself right now, how many do you think are incumbent upon women? We'll get to it. So just take a moment. Now, this is the way the commandments work. There are 365 prohibitions and 248 injunctions that we have to do. The 365 prohibitions, all of us are beholden to equally, men and women. And that would be like don't steal and don't murder, things like that. Many of those laws are not relevant today because they apply in the land of Israel or at a time that the temple is extant, etc. But in theory, they apply to men and women equally. Then there are the positive commandments, and these are also incumbent upon a woman, other than positive time-bound commandments. So if there's a positive commandment, an injunction, and it's linked to a very specific time, then a woman is exempt from that. And the general understanding is that a woman has obligations, familial obligations that are time constrained, and she should be available to do that. I'll just give an example of freeing someone up for time constraints when a person loses a loved one, God forbid. Between the passing and the burial, there are no commandments incumbent upon someone. And the reason for that is that the individual has to be available to attend to what is needed for the burial as quickly as possible. So there is this notion of I have an obligation or a triage in terms of time. I have an obligation for something that precedes or takes precedent over another obligation. But the interesting thing is that many people aren't aware of how many positive time-bound commandments there are. In total, there are 14. There are 14 time-bound commandments. So women out of 613 are obligated to fulfill 599. It's remarkable. I mean, people kind of think that women are second-class citizens because they don't have knowledge. That's just being ignorant. And of those 14 commandments, many of them women do. Not in all communities, but some in all communities, like listening to the shofar. So to hear the shofar on Rosh Hashanah is a time-bound positive commandment. To sit in the sukkah, to take the 4 species, etc. So many of them women have taken upon themselves, and then you whittle that list down even more. And the Maharal explains that the reason for this is if you take the number 248, which is the number of commandments, that's Ramach, Resh, Mem, Chet in Hebrew. It spells, if you change the order of the 2 last letters, it spells the word Rechem, a uterus, and he says that this is because women have the obligation of raising their children, that they are exempt from those commandments. So we got a lot more to do than we think.
If you like that video, hit the subscribe button and notification bell below for hours of the best Jewish content online.